FM 86, Freedom First, broadcasting from our headquarters deep within enemy lines. What's up, everybody? My name's Chris.
I'm Johnny Doe, and I like to party.
I'm Kenny.
And my name's Jamie. And we're here to talk to you today about freedom, and we're going to spread the word of freedom.
We're going to be covering things in this podcast from firearms, drugs, freedom of speech, property rights, permits, anything where the government is controlling us.
Overall, libertarianism.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So we want to educate people. We also want people thinking for themselves, not only thinking for themselves, but not buying into what people are telling you. We want you to know what you believe in, and we want you to do the research yourself. Don't take our word for it.
Yeah, don't boss me, bro, and stay out of my business.
Absolutely.
Fucking A. Mm-hmm. You know what, though? Most of all, we're here to have fun. So that being said, Chris, I heard you want to talk about something that happened on Facebook today.
Oh, Facebook.
Fuck Facebook.
So this is the first time I'm hearing about this. So
yeah, so apparently Roseanne Barr is in the news. She said something that was
when is she not in the news?
Right. Well, no, but this time it like cost her show. She said something like in kind of response to this lady Valerie something, I forget her name. Well, at any rate, she said something like Muslim when you like something like when you cross a Muslim and a monkey, something like that.
Oh wow!
So it was dude. I'm not defending what she said.
Right.
So ABC fires her, right? And rightly so. I mean, I think anybody who is in that position should watch what they say. But at the same time, freedom.
Sure.
So
just not responsible to be part of representing a bigger agency or whatever.
Well, when you work for a company, you kind of have to go by their rules,
their guidelines,
correct,
the bylaws, whatever.
So she said that. Can you give me the exact quote, Jamie?
Canceled after Star's racist Twitter rant. Yeah, let's see what we got here. She said,
"Well, she's still ugly."
Of course.
Yeah, time has not been kind to her.
No.
It wasn't kind to her when she was young. Shit.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah. So
I'll find it here. You
so
guys kinda need to.
Somebody posted it, and we were talking about it, and right away, on Facebook there are a lot.
How do you become America's best-selling?
The other side,
Keyboard thugs, we call them.
Keyboard thugs are not so much defending her what she said, but rather ABC's
firing of her.
Yeah. So people were on the side of ABC, and I got into an argument with the guy who is. I said, forget about freedom, and he was like, "This isn't about freedom. This is about bigotry." Okay.
Well,
So if we apply this to Colin Kaepernick, it's kind of the same thing, except he was, when I said, well, it's kind of like the Colin Kaepernick thing in the NFL, and he said it's not the same.
Oh God!
When it's exactly the same.
Yeah,
right.
It is
exactly the same thing.
Why is it not the same?
Yeah.
I found the quote, by the way.
Well,
like that right
his
there.
understanding, read the quote.
So the quote says, so this is from The Real Roseanne on Twitter. Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby equals VJ.
Yeah, and she's talking about...
Oh, that's that senator or whatever, the lady that's running.
Yeah, VJ. I forget her name. Valerie something.
And she comes from a multiracial descent?
No, I think she was at a Muslim Brotherhood event with... what's his name?
No, she's black.
What's the guy's name who runs the Brotherhood?
Oh, shit.
Who, Louis Farrakhan?
Louis Farrakhan. So she was there with Louis Farrakhan, and he was talking about Jews or whatever, practicing his freedom of speech.
Yo, that dude is nuts.
But freedom, right? Freedom. We're talking about freedom here. So everybody has the right to say what they want, but you're also responsible for the consequences.
Yeah, but Louis Farrakhan doesn't have a TV show on ABC, so he can say whatever he wants.
He's not accountable to anyone.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So Roseanne, unfortunately, is responsible for what she says and held accountable by ABC. And my whole thing was, how is that different than what happened to Colin Kaepernick in the NFL? Than what happened to Roseanne? It's absolutely the same.
They're both working for a company.
They're both working for a company,
representing something.
Now, the guy who I was arguing with, his understanding is, hate speech isn't protected by the Constitution.
Yeah, not by the First Amendment. Yeah,
but it is. It's absolutely under the Constitution. It's protected.
You just can't.
Just like kneeling at the flag, it's protected by the Constitution from our government. Now, here's the difference.
The only thing, before you go on, the only thing I'm going to say is that the First Amendment just makes it so that you cannot be arrested for the things that you're saying.
Right.
That's all it means.
Right.
So stop. Like I can say whatever I want. I can be talking about a certain denomination of people or whatever. It's not stopping any of them from coming up and blasting me in the fucking head.
No.
Right. And then if you sign a private contract, you're obligated under that contract.
Exactly.
Right.
Private institution.
The Constitution protects us from the government. But not from each other.
Not from ABC.
This is something I cannot stress more. Is it protects us from our government, not from each other. So if you're gonna be a racist piece of shit, somebody's gonna punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, learn to defend yourself.
Or hit
but
that pocketbook.
At the same time, you should be able to say anything you want without any fear of repercussions or violence against you.
But to me, that's stupid that you would go and jeopardize your job and your income over what you think.
But she's a freaking idiot all the time.
Yeah,
anyways.
I mean that's
how
true.
many times has she been in the news?
Right.
About
She's a
this
comedian.
Stupid shit. Yeah,
she's a comedian. She
But
thought she was being funny. And,
why would she not follow? Who was the dude from Seinfeld? Michael, whatever. She should have took a page out of his book and just shut the hell up.
Right, right.
Get that money and keep your mouth closed. If you want to say stuff like that, say it to your friends or whatever, but don't put it on Twitter. Don't turn into Trump putting your feelings on Twitter.
Right.
Like people get emotional.
14-year-old or Trump.
Exactly.
Well, so now
really?
she's
It's
being
like
ridiculed on every social media platform that there is.
But really quick, that kind of ties into what we'll be talking about
in a minute.
Is people need to like stop being emotional and picking up their phone. Like that's like
posting all that.
Yeah,
stuff
man. It's like if you're drunk, like don't text people, don't post stuff.
I just like baiting people into fights, honestly. That's
right.
my favorite thing.
But it's like super easy to do that nowadays because everybody
so
feels
fucking sensitive.
that social media gives them their opinion is, more important than whatever. So now everybody feels because they have this outlet, which is social media, that they have the right to do and say, in my opinion matters. Like we need to go back in the days, like when there was no social media and you just shut up and kept to yourself.
You kept a diary.
Right, exactly.
You wrote poems or songs.
Dear journal.
Journal that
Keep it to your fucking self.
So if you're going to post something on Facebook that I disagree with, prepare to get blasted.
So basically what we're saying here in a nutshell is don't be a bitch.
Right, exactly.
Little bitch.
Quit crying.
Simple bitch.
Yeah.
Don't be a keyboard thug, and then when somebody comes and checks comes and spell checks you,
Paul.
comes and spell checks you on the internet, then you want to cry about it.
What's up? Hey, big shout out to Rudy G. What's up, Rudy?
Okay.
Little shout out on the first episode.
Shout outs.
Some friends asked me to throw their names out there.
Oh, okay.
Rudy, Sonny, what's up? You're my guys.
Bob from the Tav, love you.
There you go.
Stay sexy.
I don't know anybody.
Right.
It's cool.
I have no friends.
It's all right.
You
We
guys are
love
my
you.
only friends.
Yeah, we love you.
You guys are my only friends, and you guys make fun of me for drinking 32-ounce beers.
That was Kenny. Kenny has an issue with it. Why? What's the issue with the
He couldn't afford the other 8. Just get a 40.
Why didn't you
These
just
are
get the
cheaper
40?
than a 40, dude.
Well, you just
40's like $2.89.
But I'm just saying, right? So your frugalness has now put you in a bracket of cheap.
$2.89 is
missing
before
half
theft.
of 40 now.
It's not half a 40. I'm missing 8 ounces of a 40.
Yeah.
No,
You're drinking a 32
Trust me,
ounce.
this is economical. I do this to be frugal.
You are
Okay.
white, so I believe that you understand economics better than anybody at this table.
See, I planned it out, and at the end of the month, what it looks like, this was the most fiscally responsible thing I could do.
Aw, planning out your bad habits.
Yeah, see?
That's
nice.
It's responsibility, though.
You got a budget, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Even if it is probably doing bad things in my heart and liver and all sorts
Oh,
of,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's besides the point.
Death will aimed at minorities. Stop drinking that shit.
Yeah.
So, that was an interesting story about Facebook.
Yeah.
Are we kind of? Do you guys want to move on from that? Because I kind
Do
of
you have
want.
any-
I kind of want to keep going on what Kenny was talking about. With
Well,
Cell phone.
Yeah.
Let's
You guys
go
wanna
into
move
that.
into
So how does this tie into how do our cell phones tie into social media?
So the majority of teens spend up to 9 hours on their phone a day.
Jesus.
So
That's only a half an hour less than you do.
Yeah.
don't they have fucking school?
Exactly.
What
I
the
know,
shit?
right? I think
So-
they're on it in school, though.
Right. Correct.
But for 9 fucking hours
That's
a day.
nuts.
9 hours. So the average
That's like the
adult
whole job day, the whole
spends
work day.
90 minutes on their phone. The average adult spends 90 minutes on their phone.
Oh,
It breaks down to what is it? It's
I guess
like
you're not average then.
no, I'm not. I'm always above average. So it's like 3.3 days a year, and then over your lifetime, it's 23 days over the span of your life.
You use your phone for 23 consecutive days.
Correct.
Jesus.
So that's 9 hours staring at a screen, on their phone, on social media, texting friends or whatever. That's not including phone calls. That's just screen staring time. So that's you looking at your phone
anymore,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So remember back when you were growing up, you had a landline.
Right.
The phone.
Yeah. The only phone which was in the house. And if you're lucky, you had two phones, but it was only one line. So you had a cordless phone upstairs or something, and then you had the old school one that was either attached to the wall in the kitchen or cord. Exactly. So 43% of Americans live in a home that does not have a landline.
Yeah, I believe that now.
I don't have a landline.
And the crazy thing about that is that statistic is from 2014. So that was 4 years ago.
No,
so it's probably definitely higher with the advancement of technology and everything else, and phones being a lot cheaper than they were back then.
I have a question for you on that.
Yes.
So a lot of people have gone away from the actual traditional landline in favor of a internet VoIP line, voice over IP line.
Correct.
So that still uses a house phone. Now, do you classify that as a landline?
So yeah, so that would still be classified as a landline because technically you have to have your, I don't know, your router or something is into the wall, which pulls over a landline or fiber optics. Right.
Well, the phone has to plug into your modem, is what it would be.
Which then plugs into the wall or your cable box or whatever, right?
To the internet.
Right. But they pull that feed through a line that's in the ground.
Okay.
It's not over airways.
Okay.
Correct. So technically, it's still a landline.
Yeah. It's not a cell phone.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to throw a wrench in here.
handheld device.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I just wanted to see what you
just
thought
keeping me on my toes. It's all right.
So do you guys, on the talk of landlines, do you guys remember like the first time you went to your friend's house and he had a fucking phone in his room?
Oh yeah. That was awesome.
I didn't have any friends like that.
Jesse Eckstein, miss you, bro.
I had a couple of friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I had some friends. You remember the clear phones?
Yeah,
they were like all cool as shit in the 90s, or probably not 90s, maybe late 80s.
Yeah, they were like the Swatch Watch phones.
Like that.
They were VTech phones. Is actually what they were.
VTech.
Swatch.
Dude, I fucking
doesn't VTech make children's toys?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Well, I mean, it was a
Honda,
kid's phone.
so
it was a kid's phone.
Get a real car, you jerk off.
Zing.
So
I heard like there's a statistic that says we spend 90% of our workday looking at a screen.
Sure.
I don't.
Yeah, a lot of people do though.
No,
I used to.
I do.
About a year ago, I used to.
Yeah,
most people do though in a lot of the jobs now.
Right.
I mean, they do. I'm talking away from the microphone. So
That's right. And I was about to get on.
Another study that I saw said that limiting screen time for kids improves their memory. If you can believe that,
because they advertised it like, there's learning games and stuff like that.
No, it's better it's better for them not to have any screen time than it is for them to be.
There was an age I saw on that too. Like if they're up to a certain age, that's when they should. It was like what 4
or something. Yeah.
I think it was. If they're under the age of 2, they shouldn't even ever be on it at all. Like 0.
So speaking of that, so my old boss had a 2-year-old. She had her own cell phone and her own like iPad.
A 2-year-old.
A 2-year-old. Although the cell phone wasn't connected to any, like it was just for like when they went out and they would put on like YouTube stuff
or games.
Check this out.
The 2-year-old was able to manipulate like YouTube and all these other like at 2. Like seriously.
So my nephew's son is 3 years old, and the other day he had my mom's phone and he was watching twerking videos.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
Fucking 3 years old.
Wait.
Watching
so
twerking videos.
did he accidentally happen upon, or he searched it? He searched it?
Dude, they know how to find that stuff.
Or that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
No, that's disgusting, but still awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen?
So we busted him red-handed, like watching these twerking videos. It's insane. So think about this, though. Okay, so these kids are growing up with this technology, right? And they're being indoctrinated by whatever company to give up their information.
Right.
And somebody is collecting this information. These kids will never know a life without their information being collected by a third-party source.
Right. Yeah, and then also on top of that, it's like you're just keeping them fat, dumb, and happy. So then in the future, they're just ready to go. They're mind-numb drones to just continue with whatever the next thing's going to be. Because Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, that's just the beginning. It's going to keep, it's going to keep changing and get more interactive. And the next thing you know is people are just going to be complete zombies.
Well, so
aren't we?
I'm sorry.
More so.
To interrupt you real quick. So the other day I went out to eat, and now you notice the restaurants have the little tablets on the table or whatever.
Yeah.
So it keeps it to where the parents aren't interacting with the kids. The kids are going wild. The kids are on the tablets or throwing stuff on the ground. The parents are either on their phones, not paying attention to the kids, or if they are conversating with other adults, they're so enthralled in the conversation they're having that they don't even notice their kids because they're expecting this device, right, to like make sure their kids are occupied.
Screen parenting.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the worst.
I worked for a guy who owned a restaurant, right? I was DJing at his restaurant, and he told me that if you keep the kids entertained, the parents will shell out money like nobody.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And that's what.
Why do you think Chuck E. Cheese is still around?
Yeah, that's why these companies are.
Damn,
they do so
think
well.
of that.
Yeah, thriving.
You keep the kids busy and entertained. The parents will spend money like crazy.
I just want to keep little Susie out of my hair.
Right, exactly.
You know, everybody wants to get away from their kids.
Give me some more prescription drugs and numb me.
They're having a good time.
Oh yeah.
Not doing their.
Can I get a refill on the wine?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
People.
Can we get another Chateau?
What do you mean those people?
Those people that drink wine all the time.
Okay, just checking.
The winos?
Like that fucking like waspy community. You know what I mean? Like
the waspy community.
Wasp. You guys don't know what a wasp is?
Yeah,
it's a bug.
A wasp is a white Anglo-Protestant
Saxton
Protestant or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see race.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I don't either.
It's
But you knew what that was.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, I did.
Racist.
I know waspy people.
So
I worked in retail for a long time, and a lot of these guys would come from New York, and they were total wasp. Here, have you guys seen Wolves of Wall Street?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
No.
I never did.
So Jonah Hill plays this guy.
He plays a fat guy.
Yeah, he plays a fat waspy guy. He's like this guy who wears these horned rim glasses and penny loafers and a cardigan. Like that's like kind of like the waspy dress.
Oh, I own
it's
a couple
fucking
cardigans.
yuppie. Come on now.
Yeah, it's a yuppie.
Oh, okay.
Let's just keep it simple.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Okay. Waspy.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about too about because we were talking about earlier how people will just start to post shit like when they're drunk or when they get emotional, and that's when all the bullshit comes up on Facebook, all the stuff you don't necessarily want to read. People just airing out their dirty laundry on Facebook.
Right. Stop. Wait, real quick to touch on that. Yeah. Stop fucking doing that. I don't care about you and your dude fighting or you and your chick fighting or you had a bad day or whatever. Like, I don't care.
Or you miss someone that broke up with you.
Right, yeah. Stop doing that. Suck it up.
Had a freedom, bro.
All right. Also, to touch on that, inversely, stop telling me how great your fucking relationship is.
Oh, man.
I know people that
my relationship is fucking great, by the way.
Fuck off.
And that's good, but I'm just saying, I know people that are on fucking Facebook that I love this person, they're the best thing that ever happened to me, and then bam, like 2 weeks later,
they're done.
Different person.
But check this out.
I'm so glad that I'm with this person. This is how it should have been the entire time.
But it's making the females be like, "Oh, you're not posting me on da 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 da.
Oh yeah.
You're hiding me from so and so." No, I just don't want or need everybody to know my business. Like back in the day, you didn't know who was going with who because there was no freaking. If you saw that person out with that person, you're like, "Oh, they're together."
Well, it's not on your profile that your status.
You're not in a relationship.
Look, dude, I came from a small town. And everybody knows your business, whether you're on Facebook or not.
Right.
You had to ask, though, at some point.
No, somebody would tell your business.
Exactly. But I'm saying,
somebody would see.
See, that would get people out and about. Like not.
I see both your guys' points.
I don't need someone, a friend or acquaintance that's all the way like in frickin' Michigan or New York or whatever.
I don't feel like sharing today.
Right.
Sure.
Don't boss me.
Yeah. What about? What do you guys think about all the NSA? The data collecting.
Oh yeah. So
it's a whole nother level of the.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Like these kids are growing up, and they'll never know a world without social media and data collection. I mean, it'll become so like so normal to them that they won't even question what their data is being collected.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're programming them to indoctrinate them into the.
It's that.
the
What's that
machine.
quote? The greatest trick the devil ever did is
trying to make the
convincing
world
people he never existed.
Right.
It's the same kind of thing with the social media and getting everyone zombified.
Right.
Well, I mean,
The sheep.
just like schools and we're all indoctrinated to believe,
Oh, that's a whole nother topic.
I know, but it goes along the line. Like our kids are being fed propaganda. At the same time, they're being evaluated by school systems through standardized testing.
Boo.
All that stuff goes hand in hand. And just like this data collection, the NSA being involved, and believe me, your phone is tapped by the NSA.
Oh, absolutely.
Do not fucking believe otherwise. I don't care what they tell you. They're watching us.
Absolutely.
They're listening. They're watching.
Turn on your phone or turn on your microphone. Turn on your
anytime.
camera.
Exactly.
Yeah, they can activate your screen, anything they want. They can make calls from your phone as well. They can send out text. You guys all seen that Google call thing where they can book you appointments and whatnot?
Oh, the new AI.
So if the Google's got that, what do you think the NSA's got? I'm sure they
Exactly.
can use your voice and call out and make things. I'm sure that's going to be coming declassified soon.
And there are ties between Google and the military. From what
absolutely.
I understand. I talked about it on one of our sound checks where it was there was a bunch of Google employees that straight up left Google because of Google's involvement with some sort of a military AI drone.
Right.
Correct.
So it was. So yeah, I mean, there's 100% there's ties to it, and which really sucks. Like for me, I really love Google, and I've been a Google advocate ever since I heard of them, right? A decade ago, and that really sucks to hear that they're going to get into that sort of thing. But they're fucking Skynet. It was inevitable. They were going to do something like this.
Yeah.
Right.
This is
Skynet.
where it's going to go.
Yeah.
This is just-
Skynet
to 80s sci-fi.
But Skynet does exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called the U.S. government.
No. Seriously, there's a company called Skynet, and they're located in San Jose, California.
We're not talking about them.
Okay.
So
But I'm
we're
just saying.
about the Terminator.
I know,
So
but I'm just saying they're real.
Johnny, you had some information about the data collection.
Well, first off, you got to remember that, like on your phones, when you guys are putting the apps on your phones and whatnot, all those, like, so you have the Weather Service, the National Weather Service, they can track everything wherever you're going. They have all they're collecting their own end of data.
When you
basically.
hit
and that's just
allow,
the weather.
right?
Any of the other apps, some of those have hidden, I don't know what you want to call them, maybe backdoors, maybe viruses, maybe just open windows.
Like Trojan horses. stuff
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That,
So it's not just the bad guy hackers and all that stuff or the viruses that you're getting, but you're also going to have the Department of Homeland Security, you have the FBI, you have the CIA, and of course the NSA. They're all able to access and do whatever they want to do to that. And then we have the do we have that up on the screen?
Yeah, it's up.
Yeah. And
well,
then
this is the security
The
enhanced
secu-
Linux
yeah.
that you wanted me to.
So
yeah.
So basically, every time we go on and we accept an app, the terms and conditions, we're agreeing to all this stuff, right?
Yeah, and no one reads that. You just skim right through it real fast and agree, so you don't have to waste your time
Reading it.
But
right?
they're counting on that. That's what they're counting on.
Yeah,
I mean, they put so many legal.
Oh, let me call my lawyer real quick before I
Right.
accept this app.
Yeah.
Who's going to do that?
They put so
Yeah.
many legalese in that you
Right.
can't. I mean, it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. You
They
accept
language
the app
fuck you.
the way it is, or you don't use the app. And honestly, like, who can go a day without their phone?
All this Linux
Or
that's on the was on the screen. All that it was. I think that was 2003 is when that all came into act. And if you go into your settings on your phone, you can go about phone and you can go scroll all the way to the bottom, and then it'll fill you in on the details on that. And I know that for a fact from 2003 when that came in, that they've changed all the legalese, because if you watch and read all the stories that came out back then, they were saying NSA and they were saying other things. Then when we looked it up today, it's like all like whitewashed, I guess, like over.
It's a little more convoluted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's vague.
I switched scenes back, so there was.
That's okay.
They could have read
They
it.
saw
There's
it.
time for
Yeah.
that. Yeah, if they want to go back and read it, they can.
Right on.
So what's this security enhanced Linux?
That's what was just on the screen over there. It's a framework in the operating system for your phone.
What do you mean?
So
Explain
basically,
to me.
it's basically the NSA can track whatever you do on your phone, and you agree to it. It's an operating system that they programmed into every cell phone.
So it's basically a way for them to get into your phone, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just basically access to it all.
And
they're not responsibility for loss of content or your finances either. So that's a whole nother end of it. Like Why is it your finances? Like, I don't even get.
So actually, what it says, the very last of the first paragraph, it's so they call it C Linux, so Security Enhanced Linux, right? The key concepts underlying C Linux can be traced to several earlier projects by the United States National Security Agency. So this is saying not directly that it has been traced back to the NSA, not that the NSA is using it to be in your phone, but I think that's what they're saying without saying it.
They're legally,
Right,
basically. Yeah, trying to hide it, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, we're in your phone, but we're
the
not in your
developers
phone.
Red Hat?
Yeah, Linux is developed by Red Hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's an operating system. It's a open source operating system. So a lot of people use it as an alternative to either Apple or Windows.
It's basically like kind of like a DOS program, right?
Well, you can run,
That's crazy.
you can run command line code in it if you want to, but it does have a GUI. There's other, like I've used Ubuntu, which is a version of Linux. That's an open source one, or they're all open source, I guess. But
I knew that dude in high school.
Really?
Yeah, Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Is he from Rwanda?
Yeah, he's from Wakanda.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know. It sounded like he would be.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Oh wow.
So this stuff also, I mean, if you think about it, we're agreeing to this stuff.
Oh yeah, we are.
We are handing over our privacy to all these app companies.
You're leaving your front door unlocked and letting people walk in your house and just examine and see whatever you have inside. It's
just checking out your kids and checking out your pets and
just want to see what you got going on here.
See what you're up to in case you're making pipe bombs or.
I think I'm one of the worst examples, just because of how much I like this Google Home shit that I have in my house. Right. I have it in my room. I use it every fucking night, and I use it every day to check
Skynet,
the weather.
What is the...
Yeah, hey, wiretap.
Hey, wiretap.
Hey, NSA. Yeah, there we go. Right on.
NSA. Yeah, and it's fucking crazy how much, like, it's gotten to the point where if I were to take that out of my room...
You wouldn't know what to do with yourself.
I know, I feel like I'd feel like I was missing something. Like it's already gotten that integrated.
I'm actually scared for you right now.
Can anybody go out without their phone for like 5 days?
You feel like you're naked.
Yeah, I couldn't go without.
No,
I can't even go like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we know.
Like I'm having withdrawals right now.
We know.
I feel like a crackhead. I could be like, oh, my phone.
We've become so dependent on our electronics.
Gotta use that phone,
right? Somebody's texting me right now. I can feel
You're doing good, Kenny. You're doing good.
Hey, so
you're gonna be okay.
So real quick to touch on that, like, have you ever like left your phone somewhere, but then you thought you felt your phone vibrating?
Oh yeah, the phantom.
Dude, yeah.
What is it called? The phantom something syndrome.
Yeah,
I used to get that with my pager. That's how old I am.
Oh yeah. I did too.
Yeah, I used to get that.
You would think it's going off. Yeah. Have you ever had it where you felt that buzz, but it was in the opposite pocket, and then you check your phone, and the opposite pocket it actually happened? Have you had that?
No.
I've had that happen twice.
Have you ever?
I was like,
has it ever buzzed in your pocket?
Oh, no.
Has it ever buzzed in your pocket and you start smacking it because you think it's a bug?
No.
That's happened to me.
See, so we both had some
get all scared.
Oh fuck! What's going on?
That's a meth.
What's going on?
That's a meth addiction. That's kicking in right there.
Yeah,
it's epilepsy.
Good times,
right?
Yeah,
good times.
Yeah. You know the worst thing about Chris wearing these headphones? I can't see his sexy ears. Just so you know, he has this weird line, but it's sexy.
Very sexy.
He's wearing the earbuds in one of our sound checks. So
okay. So, anyways, moving on.
I can see his sexy ears.
You just like ears.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I like a lot of other things, too. Trust me. We won't go there right now.
A lot of other body parts.
Okay, so to touch on that, the range that they did for the statistic of ages, so it would be from 11 to 14 are 85% of the users were 14 to 17. Those were the ones that used it for the 9 hours. And then surprisingly 69% were 11 to 14. And then you had ages 31% from 8 to 6 or 8 to 10. When I was 8, my parents were not giving me a phone, a pager, or anything like that. I didn't get my first pager until I was like...
We talked about this before,
13. And that's because I had to get a job and buy it myself.
Yeah. We were pretty
you got to buy groceries, son.
Right.
I think.
And when I got a job, my parents made me kick in on bills, too, which was like...
Technology didn't... This kind of technology didn't exist when I was growing up. We had basically like 2 or 3 channels.
The Atari.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had the... I think,
Nintendo.
Atari
Atari and then Nintendo.
Nintendo came out later.
Right.
You guys remember the Intellivision?
No.
That's before our
I had
time.
an Intellivision.
You know what I
Don't know
had?
what that
I
is.
had
Your
this
parents
box.
hated you.
He's definitely the oldest here.
Yeah.
I had this box
And
that
your
you
parents
plugged to
hated
the TV, and it had two like knobs. And if you were
Like
watching
knobs.
the TV, it would move these bumpers up and down like this.
Oh man, you had an Atari, bro.
No, that wasn't an Atari. It was just a box.
No,
with
no.
two knobs.
Right, but you had the
The Pong
generic version of Atari.
Yeah, it was a generic version.
Right.
Of Atari.
Wow.
So you move the knobs, and it would move these bumpers, right? And it would be a little ball that would
Yeah,
go back.
Pong.
Yeah, Pong.
Yeah, Pong.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, that was my first. That was
I think that is the
okay.
first video game, right?
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
but it wasn't Atari. It was some off-brand.
Some
It
weird
was some-
Right.
just
You
so
had
you
the
guys can
generic
see it here.
version.
It's called Lines on TV. game.
right?
See, this is where it all started. I think.
In television.
Oh, yeah,
Actually,
yeah,
you know what? I freaking had one of those.
Yeah, so the
and we
game-
threw it out.
The game, right?
No, like, I'm dead
every
serious.
game came with two of these little plastic cards that you would slide into the remote, and it would go over that calculator-looking
Right.
keypad, and they would have icons on it that were the buttons for that game. So every game came with two of those cards, and if you lost the cards, you were fucked. You just had to sort of memorize
Right.
what the other ones were.
We had one of those, and then we got a Nintendo.
Which is
Yeah.
way better.
Well, so
Yeah.
I think what it was my mom was really young when she had me, so I think she was still like in
Yeah, I
a
was-
stage where she might have been interested in video games. That was
Right.
the newest hotness, and video games
Right.
were kind of cool.
When did
And
that
then,
come out?
I don't
yeah,
know.
look that up.
Let me find
Hey,
out.
you guys, while he's looking that up, you guys played Super Mario so many fucking times that when you went to sleep, you would still hear the din, din.
Okay.
Did you ever have that crap
True
happen?
story.
I had that happen.
My parents
Bunch
sent my brother to freaking rehab because of yeah.
Yes!
Because he played Mario Brothers so much. There was like a
What?
video game rehab for
That's
kids.
awesome.
Yeah.
Are you
Back then, I
serious?
didn't know
I'm
that.
dead serious.
So in the 80s, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was like
Wow.
late 80s, early 90s.
awesome.
My brother was Nintendo crackhead, basically.
Wow,
awesome.
dude.
So
Yeah.
the
I think my son needs that.
Oh, here we go.
The Intellivision development for the console began in '77, and it was released in '79 by Mattel.
Ah,
okay.
okay.
So yeah,
70 was
that
a
was
good
definitely
year.
the 80s, kids.
Yep.
So my friend who lived. Party fell.
What was that?
So
Drop my mouse.
I lived in an
okay.
apartment
Oh, we
complex,
lost
and
you.
right across the street where there were some houses, and,
Okay.
and all the white
Alright.
kids lived in the houses.
You
and
used
all
to
the
break
Mexican
into 'em?
kids lived in the apartments. So he had a Commodore 64.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Commodore 64, and the game we used to play was Donkey Kong Jr.
Yeah.
Nice. You know what? My favorite game was Burger Time, and then Wolfenstein.
I remember
Burger
both of those.
I don't
Yeah.
remember that one.
It's kind of like Donkey Kong, but instead of like
I
them
liked
throwing
Rampage
like
where you
barrels down. Yeah,
Buildings. I love that.
Right.
Right. Eat the people.
That game was
That
dope
was
too.
pretty badass.
Sorry about that.
I think we got off
Fucking
topic.
mouse.
Yeah, we
What's that?
super got off
Drop my-
topic.
The headphone cord. It got hooked up on the mouse. and
It's
when
still
I-
video games. It's still social
Right.
media. It's still phones. It's all that.
Right.
It's still, technology.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
just-
if you think about it, we've been indoctrinating ourselves since probably the 1970s with these video games, right?
Oh yeah.
Early 80s.
And
So
it's
it's
in the
definitely the
television
70s,
and whatnot.
Considering, yeah, it was the main competitor to the Atari 2600 in 1979.
Wow, that's crazy.
Ooh, we just went silent.
Don't-
So I think now I can talk about video games if you guys want. If that's where you guys want me to
So
take
moving
this.
right along.
All right. Okay. I got shit to say about
Come
fucking
on.
video games.
Don't get me started. Don't
No,
get me
triggered.
started.
Yeah.
Jamie got triggered.
I'll
yeah.
do it.
I feel
Oh, yeah.
uncomfortable.
Steamroll this son of a bitch. I will do it.
So, we have any other thoughts on the
Social
cell
media?
phones?
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just say no.
Well, it's not going to happen.
Well,
they're
no,
a big
so-
tool. Let's look at the positives. They're a great tool. You can get awesome apps for different
Right.
things, navigation. There's good things about the cell phone. It's not like we're just saying they're all bad. Don't wear your
Right.
tinfoil hat.
Just be
and put it
careful
away.
what you share.
Just be careful
and what you put on.
what you
and,
say.
and not
what
only
you're
that,
looking up.
you should start weaning yourself off. So one of the sharks off of Shark Tank starts. I think she puts her phone down for like an hour a day. Puts her phone down, just kind of gets away from it, and she's already seen like results on like her mind being clearer and her being able to
Right.
do more tasks just by setting the phone down. And I'm pretty sure people do it because I do it. The first thing I do when I wake up is I grab my
Check
phone.
your phone. Everyone
Yeah.
does.
So I'm trying to break myself from doing that. So this week I've actually literally have stopped doing that.
Yeah,
it's like that morning cigarette, man. It's a fucking rough one to break.
I don't know about that.
People need to start reading more. Is the bottom line.
Oh yeah,
I read a lot.
Go back to print. Go back to print.
You need to start reading more and doing other things too. Work out.
Well, do some other shit. Get the newspaper delivered to your home.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I did that for a test run. No, I did it for a test run.
If you're doing that just because you want something to start your fire, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it matters what medium you read it on. If you can read it on a medium that you can recharge and you don't have to waste paper, why isn't that a good thing? That's actually utilizing.
It is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
So
it's a bad thing. Let me tell you why. Because everything is being changed from hard copy to digital format. Now, once the hard copies go away in the guise of eco-friendly or environmentally friendly, then they can put all the information that's in these books on the internet.
Well, he was talking about the news more.
Get rid of I'm talking about. I mean, it's a lot bigger than just our news. So, once they get everything on digital format, they can change or manipulate it however they want. As long as we have hard copies of things, they can't get away.
But they can also do that too with printing stuff. Like
good point.
We have a good example where you can print a story, and then what really happened is not the actual story.
You can have digital copies of things that are not accessible to the internet.
Right.
I can download something, put it on a fucking Kindle that doesn't have Wi-Fi and doesn't connect to the internet, and that's mine forever. Nobody can do anything.
But it's already on the internet, so how do you know it hasn't been manipulated?
Oh, no, I don't know that, but I'm saying if I'm reading a book, I can match it to whatever. I can fucking
books.
I think everybody should have hard copies of stuff.
Oh yeah, I like that too.
If you're saying that you should have hard copies of stuff so that we're perpetuating the use of hard copies, that way they stay in production, I can see where you're going from. But for it to be just under the guise of that someone could have manipulated before it got to you, well, shit. I mean, that happens to the fucking news before it gets to my house, even in a newspaper.
Wow.
Yeah. So it really, in my opinion, if I wanted to get a digital copy of something, I could put it on a hard drive, unplug it from my computer, and nobody can touch that except me.
Right.
True.
And
it's preserved.
It is a good.
And
point.
it lasts longer.
It is a good point though that you're bringing up, Chris.
Paper degrades.
Something that a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, and you're right. Like this is we're discussing it. Right?
No, we're not. So
we're not always going to agree with everything everybody says.
Also, one other thing that gets overlooked about the cell phone and the social media end of it, but it's more about the cell phone thing actually, is the radiation. So your cell phone is a receiver, and you got the micro radiation coming into your phone, and it's a fucking scary thing. No one's really I mean, you get people mentioning it and whatever, but the microwaves are the exact same thing that are coming out of your microwave in your house.
Exactly.
Right into your head, right into your hand. You're keeping it on your body. Dude, that's gonna people. Oh man, it's gonna get bad. And what is it? The 5G or what is going on with that? That's
the 5G. Wait,
isn't that supposed to?
Don't they recommend that you keep your phone like 10 inches from your head?
10 centimeters away from your body.
Right,
is what they recommend.
Wow.
And use a handheld or head-held device or something like that. And
basically headphones.
But no one does that. Like no one does that. I mean, when you're listening to music, yeah, but not.
Yeah.
Operating it.
Don't keep your phone in your front pocket if
you're trying to have kids.
Produce
right.
kids, yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't have kids with 3 eyeballs.
I feel like that's nuts.
6 arms, 3 eyes.
Yeah.
Like the Simpsons fish or something.
Oh yeah.
Jesus. All right.
I was reading a little bit of our next topic, so I have.
Okay.
Oh,
nice.
My bad.
That's all right.
Look at this guy.
Yeah. All right. So moving along.
What is it? So what are we getting at here? Freedom is not free, folks.
No.
Technology is good.
Technology is good, both good and bad.
Yeah.
There's always pros and cons to everything.
It's just like any tool,
so
any weapon.
Bottom line is be careful what you search for. Be careful what you put out into the world while you're using your phone, because somebody has access.
Somebody is watching.
Every app that you agree to has access to your phone.
I mean, they just see pretty much a lot of punk rock and porn on my phone. So
freedom.
Yeah.
Punk rock and porn.
Yeah.
Maybe some gun shit too.
All right.
I look at a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we don't need to get into what we're.
I said stop.
I volunteered. I have nothing to hide.
Things. All right.
But I have apps that block
Porn? Why would you do
block
that?
everything.
That's just insane.
Oh,
I have an app that blocks all the other apps from checking,
Spying.
whatever.
that's another thing that I wanted to.
But that app is probably spying on your.
That's the master.
Actually,
The master spy
It
app.
does not collect any data. You don't have to agree to any terms and conditions.
You don't have to give it any permissions.
Nothing.
Until they go to court.
See, the thing about that though is, I still feel like they can still just
until they get
NSA
busted.
can still fucking hit you,
Right.
and still look at everything.
I'm sure they can.
You know what I mean?
Because your web provider can access what you're
right. It's
for.
like pretty much they can surrender the private company can surrender all that stuff to the NSA. Not to mention, I'm sure illegally that they're just swooping up all the information. They're doing the data collection.
Right.
I mean, they take all our stuff and store it somewhere that they can access at another point. So
right.
So here's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah.
If staring at a screen,
we go back to
is
beepers,
somehow like keeping us up and stuff like that, because there's something called your circadian rhythm, and staring at a blue light like we get from a monitor or from our cell phone can actually keep you up at nighttime. It helps you. It has something to do with brain activity. I haven't read
creates insomnia.
Well, I read too that another thing, just on that note, just what you're saying, is that it's addictive too. Like, it becomes addictive.
Yeah,
in the studies they've done.
Just like
so
I think
just like heroin. No.
The addiction is more so the content that's on the phone, not necessarily the actual looking at the screen.
No, it's actually the screen, because what it does is it produces extra amount of serotonin in your brain, and it actually stimulates the active region of your frontal lobe that keeps you awake.
But serotonin is generated by things that make you happy, so that leads me to believe it's the content, not the actual screen.
that's what I'm thinking.
No, it's the wave pattern of the light. Yeah, it's the wave pattern of the light. So it's just like,
I can look into that.
It's just like your television.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you notice, like, if you have your TV on, you stay up a little bit longer as opposed to if you're reading a book, right? It's the wave pattern of the light that is projected across the TV.
Releasing those chemicals.
Correct.
Okay.
Just like how earlier when you were like, well, don't look at the ad, but the ad was flashing, it caught my eye.
Pretty colors.
Right. It's just like fish. It's like fishing.
Another
basically.
thing that I wanted to touch on too before we end this topic here is a way that you can protect yourself from people being able to access your data, and that's by using something called a VPN. It's a virtual private network. You can actually get them from you can pay subscriptions to run your internet through a VPN, and it's essentially when you access a website, that web server sees it as this number that your internet service provider gives you. It's called your IP address. If you use a VPN service, what happens is whenever you access something, it shows the VPN service. It shows that this service is accessing the website, and anyone that wants to access your data can't get through that to find out what your actual IP address is, so they essentially have no idea what you're looking at. All they see is that you're looking at this VPN service.
Yeah, and that McAfee, the guy that ran for president last time, he's the guy that has the one that made all the bugs, whatever, anti-software.
Spyware.
Yeah,
anti-spyware,
whatever they call it.
Antivirus.
He actually was working on a project, I don't know, I've heard a couple years ago, that if you look up stuff, it's going to shoot out like 8 or 9 different things that you're searching for that you're not really searching for on purpose, so government or private people can't figure out exactly what you're really searching for.
Okay.
We should look that up at another time, but I remember him talking about that like about a year ago or so.
But John McAfee's also a crackhead.
Well, yeah, so
the thing is,
awesome.
Using a VPN
He's a
libertarian.
libertarian.
Makes it so it's
He's
like
a libertarian.
He is.
Sexy man.
Using a VPN makes it so that every time you do look something up, all they see is that you're looking up that service that you're paying for.
AKs and fucking married a stripper, or no, a prostitute. He married a prostitute.
Yeah,
Right,
I believe
yeah.
in freedom, and
Awesome.
there's nothing that's going to stop me from
Promoting freedom.
Yeah. And if that means I have to go on the internet and look up some scary stuff to the government, then that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yo,
All right.
you.
Cool. You guys want to go ahead and wrap it up on the social media topic?
Yeah,
We'll move on to
I feel like we covered a lot of different stuff on that.
Yeah, we did. I really wanted to show this video that Chris posted on Facebook today. So I know we're going right back into Facebook because it's kind of the exact same shit we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I found it on YouTube and other social media. But hey, how would I find all my funny videos if it weren't for YouTube?
Right.
So there is a event, or I guess an activity, a sport, not a sport. It's an activity called cheese rolling, and it happens over in England.
Yeah.
Where what they do is
they roll a wheel of cheese down a hill.
Exactly. It's a 9-pound wheel of cheese that gets rolled down a hill, which looks very steep. So all these people run after it and hilariously fail. I guess the aim is to actually catch
Said cheese.
get the cheese and get it over a finish line, and the winner just gets the cheese.
Yes.
But
that's not
okay.
That's not what we're looking at right now.
That's not what we're looking at.
But, no. So, but the wheel of cheese they actually use is really a high quality, expensive wheel of cheese. I'm sorry.
Is that why they're chasing it?
That's why they're chasing it.
Oh.
It's double Gloucester.
Yeah, it's only produced like that time of year, and that's the only time you can get it.
It's a traditional semi-hard cheese which is made in Gloucestershire, England, since the 16th century, and at one time made only with the milk of once nearly extinct Gloucester cattle.
Wow. It's made from the blood of virgins.
I don't know if I'm saying Gloucester correctly.
You're white. That's close.
It's okay. We'll see. You're good.
So the video is...
the epic fails of that.
Yeah, it's a slow motion video of these people just rolling down these fucking hills, and it's got a pretty hilarious soundtrack.
Dude, this is like so hilarious when I watched it. I watched it like 50 times.
I was in tears
because just watching the people tumble is fucking great.
So I'm gonna switch us over to that scene, and we're gonna watch this video together here. Because this, dude, I was in fucking tears watching this.
Oh, here we go.
Damn, he's got some speed.
Yeah, and they just keep going, man. Oh, Jesus. Look at all these losers scooting down the hill.
Gotta get that cheese.
Wait, look.
Oh my
she goes
she's going sideways.
Backwards. She goes backwards.
Oh, dude, you see that twist she did right there?
I wish there was more rocks on the hill.
Damn.
It's like lone survivor status here.
Oh my god. But she's smiling away too.
Okay,
No
this
fucks
guy,
given.
this guy, I think is out. I think he's unconscious.
Oh yeah, he's definitely out right there.
Yeah.
He is out. Oh wow.
Knock the fuck out.
Look right here, we just
Oh,
roll.
Damn, that's
he's
awesome.
done.
Oh, did that dude just throw up?
This guy's doing backflips.
I think that dude threw up.
That'd be sweet.
The hill
Protect
is
your
wet.
head.
No, I think he hurt himself.
Look at this asshole.
Oh, that dude is too
Fat guy in
big.
the middle,
That
fat guy in
dude's
the middle.
too big. Too.
Oh, yes. Oh, Bumbles bounce, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude.
Oh my god. Dude.
God damn.
That's insane.
What was that, Deadpool?
Deadpool.
Yeah,
Deadpool.
Deadpool's on there. Steelers fan. This is in England.
Well, people from all over the world come to do this apparently.
It's like running into the bulls, but chasing you with the cheese.
But way dumber.
Just rolling down a hill with strangers.
Oh.
Oh,
He's out.
damn.
That dude's
Damn.
out too. Oh,
Oh.
she's gonna bite it hard. That didn't even sound right.
She's wearing a tank top.
I wonder how many people get seriously injured.
A lot of people. Yeah.
There's like a bunch of paramedics just standing by. There's that one chick again.
Yeah, there's a couple
Annoying
of
looking.
overlaps.
Her face bothers me.
Hey, you want to know the crazy thing about this is? Has anyone noticed that the hillside is wet as shit? And these people are...
It is.
Yeah.
It's got to be the time of the year, right?
Yeah, it is. Oh, there's the cheese.
Finally got to see it. We didn't see it all this time till
There's
now.
the cheese, yep.
Looks like a
Boom.
big old dip can. There's
Oh.
that fat bastard right there.
Dude,
Look at this
Look
guy.
at this guy.
Oh, he's gonna win.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh.
Speedos.
We got the Wild Boys participating in the...
Yeah, is that?
That dude broke something.
Look at this guy.
Wow.
Tuck and roll.
Yeah.
Keep those arms in.
Oh man, he's gonna get the cheese. He's gonna get the cheese.
Oh,
Did
face
somebody actually
plant.
win?
Yeah, I'm not up for this next year.
Did somebody actually get it?
I don't know.
That dude doesn't even know where
That
he's
was fucking
at.
Great.
That dude does not even know where he's
Has anyone
at.
ever died doing this?
I don't think so. I don't know. We'd have to
That would
look
just
that
be
up.
interesting.
So, I just wanted to get that out there so we can kind of lighten the mood before we
Take a
take
break.
a,
I thought the
take
mood
our
was
break
light.
here. That was fucking hilarious.
All right.
That was good. Okay,
Good shit.
so we're all good. You guys want to go ahead and take a quick little break?
Yes,
and
sir.
come back
We'll
in
come
and do
back.
Our
We'll see
second
you
half.
in a sec.
All right,
Down.
folks. We'll be back. See you in a little bit.
Shaw's little notepad hitting
Oh,
it
wait,
with the pencil.
hold on. Are we
Stand by.
recording? Are we recording?
It's
or
on
no?
now.
Ah, fuck
It's
it.
on now.
Okay, it's too late. It's
So,
cool.
all right,
It's cool.
folks. We're coming back from our break.
Yep.
I I just wanted to apologize. First of all, there's like a little technical difficulty about the 4-minute mark on our first show. I guess a video or a tab started playing a video. I didn't close it quick enough, so it talks for like 3 seconds. I apologize.
You'll never get those 3 seconds back in your life.
Yeah.
Don't ever let it happen again, or I'll break your legs.
It's all my fault. I'm an asshole.
It's all part of the show.
We're still working out the kinks.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's a work in progress.
Don't worry, folks. If it happens again, Jamie's going to disappear.
Yeah, I just won't even be. It'll be the show.
He'll
with
be
off
screen.
No, Jamie will disappear from
off
Earth.
screen.
I'll be in a hole in the desert somewhere.
Yeah.
So
no, just off screen.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hoffa, that bitch.
Right.
So getting back into it, we've got another sort of a hot topic to kind of bring up, and I'm not going to say much more than Monsanto. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to you guys.
Oh my God, Monsanto. Who is Monsanto?
It's my cousin.
Triggered. Monsanto is a chemical company that has been around for about 40 years. They produce Roundup.
That's our number one selling product. Or the number one selling weed killer.
Number one around the world.
Most people have it in their house too.
Right. It's probably in your sink right now, or your garage, or but there's a lawsuit. A lawsuit was filed in 2016 by a gentleman named Dwayne Johnson, not The Rock Johnson.
The Rock?
Not The Rock.
Oh.
So this case is a few years old, 2016. It's still in litigation. So the plaintiff basically is saying that after years of use of Roundup, he's got this non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Cancer.
Yeah, cancer due to the exposure to Roundup. Now, there's a chemical in Roundup, which is the active ingredient. It's called glyphosate. Glyphosate is the active chemical that kills the weeds. Mixed with another chemical called POEA. POEA, I think it was. Yeah,
I
POEA.
think so. Something like that, yeah.
So the POEA is similar to soap, and the soap helps the glyphosate get to the roots of the plant, killing the plant. So that's kind of like the two active chemicals in this Roundup. So the plaintiff is saying that he contracted, or he got cancer from these two active chemicals.
So did he was using it in what form? Like, was he at a work?
Yeah, it was in a work form.
It was a work form?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
if I'm not mistaken, he's a landscaper, correct?
Yeah, or he worked for a school district or something like that.
Yeah.
He sprayed it over years and years. He's groundskeeper or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so after years of exposure to this stuff, he says that Monsanto didn't properly label their product.
Right.
So
they didn't have a warning label of some sort.
Yeah, not disclosing to the general public how bad it is.
So, and what's interesting about that is back in the day when you read your label on the front cover of your Roundup bottle, it would say biodegradable.
Right,
and
correct.
There's been studies saying that they got
That's
sued for false advertising, and it only the Roundup only breaks down 2% in 28 days.
Wow.
So that, I mean, I bet you can throw gasoline on the ground and it breaks down faster than that. That's not biodegradable in any way. You know what I mean? Like, that's just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, plastic's biodegradable. It just takes 500 fucking years.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, breaking down at 2% each year.
And also what's interesting is that this company also was the ones that put out Agent Orange in the Vietnam War era. So that was a vegetation killer to destroy the jungle so they could see in the jungle. So that's where this company's coming from. They made like factory lubricants. What else do they do?
They also do
DDT.
Yeah. And then they're also the second largest agricultural company in the world.
Yeah.
That's where all of our food comes from then.
Right. So they're really big on GMOs, and
they're basically the creators of GMOs.
They are. Yeah.
They have that whole patent.
Right.
So
down.
what is a GMO for people who maybe don't know?
Genetically modified organism.
All right.
So say like an apple is a GMO apple. They're going to grow bigger. They're going to be tastier, maybe sweeter.
Grow faster.
Resistant
to bugs.
Able to get to the market faster to you and your family. The problem is they
on the surface it sounds good.
It sounds great. Yeah. I mean it was probably one of the most innovative technological advances in our society in a generation.
Do you know when they came up with that GMO?
Tell us, Kenny.
So they came up with GMOs for the government because of the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression.
Oh, man.
So basically when the Dust Bowl happened and we lost the majority of the wheat crops here in America, which was our main source of income for the United States, they designed a wheat that was drought resistant, pesticide resistant. Basically, it can grow anywhere. And that's why you have a lot of people today that now have allergies that have a gluten allergy, because what it basically does is changes the cellular structure of the wheat to make it resistant. But the byproduct of it is gluten, which natural wheat has it, but it's not as high as genetically modified wheat.
Well, because it's not. Bread is mass produced at a rate, and it's not like say we were making bread, right? You and I here at your house. Bread takes a lot longer to make.
Correct.
In smaller loaves. And that's the way it used to be, generations ago, that we were producing. So it gave the wheat and the bread time to kind of like release that extra gluten or
break it down.
Right.
So
gluten is used by yeast to actually make the bread rise.
Right. So now because it's mass produced and pushed out into the store so quickly, the bread isn't able to
get rid of that excess gluten.
Yeah, so these are the genetic modifications. Like we're able to produce faster at the cost of
people's health.
Yeah, people's health.
Right. So you get a cheaper product because it's faster and cheaper to make because it produces faster, and you can do mass quantities, as opposed to where you get like GMO-free products and you're like, why is this so expensive? Well, because it actually takes time and the way it's supposed to. There's no shortcuts.
The production cost is higher.
Correct.
So you have to pay for that.
Right.
Yeah. So what is GMOs have to do with the glyphosate?
I don't know.
Well, they inject the glyphosate into the seeds.
Right.
So
correct.
What happens is you were telling me about this.
I don't know. So they basically take the seeds of, let's say, soy or corn, which are the biggest things, and you notice that corn and soy is in everything. Everything we eat, right?
Yeah,
all the processed food,
corn
especially. Syrup. And basically, they break down the seed and they inject it with these organisms. So that's your GMO. And it's to protect it from other bugs, weed killer. So you're putting bits and parts of the Roundup in there. I think it's a bacteria, I believe.
It is.
And they inject it in there. And so then we're now ingesting that in every single thing. So it's not even like you're eating one thing that has it in there. It's everything. And if you've noticed, the cancer rates have gone up insane. Like everyone here knows somebody that's been
cancer rates have been insane.
If not themselves, everyone knows somebody.
And not only that, if you notice the amount of kids born with some kind of learning disorder or autism or whatever, some form of disability.
Well, what do we all have in common? Every human being
eats
and drinks,
dies,
and
poops
and breathe air.
Right.
So everything that we're doing is fucking contaminated.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a kid on this planet who's breathed a breath of fresh air in their life, like real clean air.
No.
The world, I mean, everything is so contaminated. Even the cleanest places in the world are contaminated.
Well, and that gets into a whole nother thing about the Roundup, too. The Roundup is in all the soil, in the United States especially. Europe has outlawed, well, at least majority of Europe and Canada has outlawed the GMOs. But the Roundup it's in the air, it's in the soil, and they take tests in other countries that don't even have it, and they're finding small trace amounts of it. So you can't get away from it. If you're even trying to eat organic food and stuff, you're going to get it. There. It's going to be in there. Even though it's going to be better, it's still...
So there's no such thing as organic.
Yeah, you can't really protect yourself 100%.
No.
Well, there is, but what he's saying is that even the stuff that they grow the organic food in is already cross-contaminated, so you are still getting
it's in the air, it's in the...
But so technically...
I feel like I was pretty clear.
Right, but it's technically still not organic.
Explaining it for someone who didn't quite get it is what it sounded like.
No, I got it. It's just...
It's
organic
crazy.
is not real.
It's all in it's in the rain. It's in the atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's in the rainwater. It's in everything now.
You can't
avoid it.
We can't. It's unavoidable, and we can't.
They just keep spraying it, so it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse.
And this is why the lawsuit is so important, because if we can prove or this guy can prove that he got cancer from this Monsanto company, or from Roundup, I mean, that would open them up to class action suits around the world.
Right, correct.
I mean, it would just wreck these companies. The problem is this company is so protected by the U.S. government that it'll never happen.
Ooh, good point. And that goes in with one thing too that we were discovering is there's a huge revolving door between Washington and Monsanto and companies that have to do business with Monsanto. It's you're getting people going into the agricultural end of it in the United States government, and they used to work for Monsanto. They're making
policy for
right.
For trading in,
and they serve their term in the government, and then they go right back into those companies. So they're always have their foot in the door. They're always like lobbyists is one thing, right. But these guys are actually in the positions in the government.
Yeah, like
and you can look it up on Google. Just you can look who's worked at Monsanto in the U.S. government, especially. I think it especially started mainly during the Clinton administration. I mean, I know it was before that, but I mean, I think that's when it really started to pick up.
Well, even Wikipedia, go to revolving door, and you'll find the information there.
There you go. I mean, homework for you guys.
Hashtag look it up.
So many people that are involved.
Hashtag look it up, Kenny.
So many people that are involved in this company. It would, for them to get sued by somebody and to lose the Roundup product would be detrimental to their company.
Yeah.
But
how much business do they do? How detrimental would it be?
$280 billion
a year.
Yeah.
For Roundup.
Ridiculous.
And they're spreading.
That's just the Roundup, right?
Yeah, so that's just a Roundup, not including their agriculture department that makes about $6.6 billion a year annually.
Jeez. Wow.
So a fraction of what they make with fucking Roundup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Damn.
But to protect themselves, they're now in the process of being bought out by Bayer, which is another large agricultural company.
And they're outside the U.S.
Correct. They're in Germany.
Type shit.
So right now, Bayer just sold off their agricultural properties, R&D, all their rights, because it would have been a monopoly and the U.S. government wouldn't allow them to purchase Monsanto's. So they sold off their $9 billion worth of agriculture to then purchase the Monsanto's for $66 billion.
Wow. Yeah. There's another end of this too, is that they have patents on all their seeds, and you've signed into contracts if you're a farmer, and you buy their product, which is resistant to the Roundup. So what you do is you spray your field, you plant the seeds, then you can spray right over it. So there's no weeds or anything in there, but you're spraying more Roundup on top of the plants with the Roundup built inside of them. And that's what you're getting inside of you right there. So back in the day, remember, you just had to wash off the pesticides off of your food?
Yeah.
Nowadays,
it's actually in the food. Right.
Right?
And you can't even eat it.
They're basically a bully, too, because they went into Argentina and basically pushed out all these small farmers. Argentina was a producer of, like, lentils, soy, and right now their soy market.
And India and cotton, you can look that up,
right,
too. That's a big one, too.
Predominantly all now Monsanto. Yeah. So they're basically just made a deal with the Argentinian government for the small farmers to get royalties, but they still have to use their product. They went from producing 12 million crops of soy to 44 million crops of soy in a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also what they have to do is at the end of the year or after the season's over, whatever, and they have to get rid of their seeds. So they can't replant the extra seeds they have. They have to surrender them, destroy them. I'm not sure exactly.
They surrender them back to the company.
Yeah, they come and collect it, right?
Correct.
And then they go and do samples of different fields in people's private property to see if they have the Monsanto
strain, basically.
Exactly.
So, wait, what you're saying is, so you're saying that if I have a cornfield,
right, not GMO,
and I'm not buying from Monsanto,
right,
and
they come onto your property and check it.
Check for what?
To make sure that you're not using their seeds.
And if you got one carried in by a bird or the wind or whatever,
then they sue you and take your farm, your whole farm. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, and shut you down.
So that's happening right now in Argentina, India, and China.
And that's in the U.S.
And in the U.S. too, yeah.
Ridiculous.
There's a lot.
Well, that's been going on for decades.
So if Monsanto corn magically starts growing on my property, it's no longer
your property.
It's not your corn anymore.
Well, it's open to
debate,
legal action, whatever.
Here in the United States is open to legal action.
Because what happens is then they think that you have snuck in and got that, so then it's their property. So they can take their property back.
Yeah.
So how do you stop nature from?
Do not know.
So that's.
But in Argentina, they're literally taking people's farms.
Yep, confiscation.
Yeah, and saying you stole our product. So they have a monopoly on the seed industry to where they're designer growing fucking seeds. Basically, they're making a designer soy. In other countries, corn, wheat, whatever.
They have 100 and something vegetables.
Right. If you notice that China used to buy the majority of their wheat from the United States, they don't anymore. Yeah. And the reason why is because Monsanto's now has a factory in China.
Of course. Of course. That's like the only country you can get away with everything.
Right.
As long as the government gets paid.
Exactly.
Socialism.
Yeah, and the lack of labor laws or any sort of regulation on that.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a reason why most of the stuff that we have here is produced over there.
Well, I mean, as far not the food product, I wouldn't buy anything.
I don't mean food wise. Yeah, I mean they taught you how to spot Chinese garlic, right? Have you guys seen that?
No.
The Chinese garlic will have the bottom of the bulb hollowed out because it technically contains part of the root, and they're not allowed to export that
to the United States. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's U.S. garlic, it'll have that little knot on the bottom of it. It'll have that, but if it's not,
I just get my garlic from Gilroy. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
We'll just keep it garlicky.
Yeah.
Keep it garlic.
So the thing about this is that Monsanto's Bayer has until June 14th of this year for the sale to go through. Right. So if Mexico and Canada blockade it and say no, then the sale won't go through and Monsanto's can basically back out.
It's illegal to have it in Canada.
No, I'm saying they do still import products from Monsanto's.
Maybe it's maybe it's just not the planning.
Right, not the planning part of it. Right, but in order for Bayer to purchase Monsanto's,
I like how he calls it Monsanto's.
Or what is it?
I wasn't going to say
Monsanto.
Monsanto, whatever.
It's actually Monsanto.
I keep thinking of the fresh maker.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monsanto. My bad. In order for this purchase to go through, it has to be approved by the Mexican and Canadian government.
Well, you know, in Mexico, they're fighting these companies from coming in and taking up the land. I mean, these farmers that are in Mexico have owned the land for generations, probably a millennia.
Right.
I mean, these are people who've never been displaced from.
I feel like those farmers really like tortillas.
They really do, and we would like to keep growing
the GMOs,
our own natural corn, as opposed to the GMO corn. So let's So I mean, there's a real uprising right now going on against these mega companies coming in and purchasing all this land.
But on a good note, the United States produces more oxygen than the rainforest right now because of our cornfields. You can literally go online.
Wow, so there is a bonus.
Yeah, you can literally go online and look it up. It'll show you
health.
Of course. But you just look. He's trying to be positive.
Just trying, throwing a little positive.
Just tear him down.
So basically, what we're all saying is
stop eating GMOs.
Yeah, Monsanto's bad.
I mean, how many times do people have to say it? I mean, over and over and over that GMOs are bad.
Right. And they also have their. So that's another thing that none of us really talked about. They do all the injections, hormonal injections, and all that stuff for all the animals too.
Yeah. Every meat product.
So from your meat, you're getting that. And then their feed is probably most likely going to be Monsanto feed.
Oh, definitely.
Because there's corn and whatnot in there, soy and whatever.
Like if you look at what they do to the cow, they inject the cows to produce more hormones to produce more milk.
Right. Not only that, and to make cows bigger.
Yeah,
also.
It makes cows bigger, produce more milk, and it's like.
And we're technically the only animal on the planet that drinks the milk of another animal.
That's pretty cool.
Also interesting too is the development of younger people these days.
Girls. Yeah, you know what?
Prime example, my daughter is 13 and she looks like she's 35.
It's crazy. And the height of a lot of people, the size of people.
Well, that would be genetics, Johnny. Sorry that you're short.
No, because I remember, I don't know, is this just me, but in the 80s, people were not as fat overall.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Their height was average. I mean, now you're
except for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is genetics too. I'm not
but no, if you look at the kids nowadays, though, the kids are a lot smaller they're not as big as we were. They're a lot smaller. Height-wise?
I didn't think that.
Yeah, height-wise, because I do have children that are, they're a lot shorter.
They look like you see the high school kids.
But they're wider.
Because it's just down the street from
Yeah, they're wider.
Gravity. I'm not saying your kids, but I mean, like kids in general, watching them walk back and forth to school when you drive by, you're like, wow.
And they're eating Cheetos and whatnot.
Like, yeah.
Right.
They're eating Doritos.
What was that, Jamie?
Exactly.
I was saying because I see them because they walk right past like my parents' house. So when I'm over there, you see these kids walking, over to 7-Eleven or whatever, and it's like they look like babies. They're children,
and they'll be
so small,
and they're in high school.
No, it's just because you're old.
Maybe that's what it is, but I remember motherfuckers had facial hair and shit when I was in high school, and now you see these kids and it's just all.
Well, that affects their hormones.
Yeah,
this all does.
It's in our,
which is interesting.
It's in our food.
That's a whole other thing to look into.
Cell division. Cell division creates cancer.
Right.
I mean,
it's fucking with our DNA.
And it's exactly what it's doing. These products are injected into the seed so that it resists the pesticides.
Insects.
And we're consuming it at a super high rate.
An alarming rate.
And
can I say alarming as well?
You can.
You can. All right.
Do you have an alarm?
God damn it, Jamie.
No.
I don't have any. I don't have the soundboard up. I'm sorry. I don't have the soundboard up.
I mean, we're just eating this stuff up every day, and it's in everything. Sodas. It's in candy. It's in your vegetables.
Your Starbucks.
It's in all that box food that you buy
especially
at the store.
The soy. And another interesting thing about this whole thing.
Your burritos at 7-Eleven.
Your Chipotle.
Your fucking rock stars.
Everything. Yeah, it's interesting, too, because conservatives and libertarians on this issue, it is a very hot topic. It's something that I'd say the left a little bit more is on top of on this one, but for some reason, because it's big business, some of the libertarians and definitely the conservatives, they all try to back it up.
Right.
And they do that with central banking, for crying out loud. Not necessarily not the libertarians, but the conservatives. So it's definitely one of those issues that not a lot of people talk about on the right side of it or the freedom-ended mindset of it.
Yeah. And this to me isn't freedom. This is we're not getting a choice.
Oh yeah, there is no choice.
There's no choice in this matter.
So
you guys hear about the mosquitoes carrying vaccines?
Yes.
Oh, same principle, man.
Doing that in Africa.
Yeah, they're doing it in Africa right now.
And they're genetically modifying bees as well. So it's now going into critters.
Well, that's because the bees are dying.
Yeah, bees are dying, so they're trying to
save the species
under the guise of trying to save the
species. Because if the bees die, we die.
Sure. But they're still fucking with animals.
Fuck the bees.
Right, but still. But yeah.
I don't buy that anyways.
Fuck bees.
Bees are assholes.
We need the bees.
Fucks.
No, wait.
Oh, here we go.
Honeybees are cool. The assholes are the fucking wasps that hang around.
Yeah.
We can all get on board on that.
Those are assholes with wings.
Yeah.
And they don't die when they sting you, aka bite you.
Yeah.
And that's what I use Roundup for, to kill those assholes.
Nice.
We'll give them cancer.
Fuck them.
All right, so
on this topic, I only had like one little thing to sort of
interject.
Yeah, to interject. I like that word. Was about aspartame.
There we go.
So aspartame was a artificial sweetener, right?
Yes.
And it looks like since so many studies have been done that will tell you that aspartame is bad, it's actually finally come out that aspartame is really not good for you at all and causes a laundry list of side effects, like including ADD. I even saw like they're trying to say it causes ADD, which
wait, what?
I don't really know how I feel about that, but
what happened?
I stopped paying attention. What?
Yeah, what? Squirrel. So
I think ADD was manufactured by the medical corporations.
I was just
anyway
waiting to see what he was going to say.
So what I was getting at was it's apparently being rebranded as something called amino sweet. So amino
of course,
sweet
always rebrand it.
is aspartame. Right. So when we start seeing that, I can't wait to see products that advertise that they don't have aspartame, but then you look on the thing
and it has amino sweet.
Amino sweet in it.
Right? Yeah.
They're technically not lying.
Yeah.
But it's fucked up that it's.
And where does it come from?
It comes from mixing up a couple different things. Aspartic acid, some word that's got it's phenylalanine.
Right.
I just a shot in the dark on that, and methanol, and you mix those three things together, and it tricks the brain. This tricks the brain into thinking that it's tasting something good.
Wow.
You're not tasting something good.
You're not. And it's also a byproduct of nuclear waste.
Yeah.
Nuclear waste?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Oh, that's what I heard.
That's what I heard too.
So aspartame, which is these three ingredients mixed together. I'm going to put it up on the screen over here so people can kind of see it, because I probably butchered
those
absolute
three
shit out of those
on the
fucking
top.
If you can't pronounce it does not occur in nature.
That sounds legit to me, man. How you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems right.
So, and there's the list of all the
side effects.
The side effects that it's been known to cause.
Headache, memory loss, seizures, vision loss, coma, ADD,
lupus.
Everyone's depressed.
Fibromyalgia, molecular dysphoria,
diabetes,
dystrophy. Yeah,
dystrophy.
I feel like they just read off Kenny's
muscular
health
dystrophy.
Yeah,
sorry, I can't see that far because I have bad eyesight from eating fucking GMOs. Alzheimer's, chronic fatigue, diabetes, depression. You know, all the people who have that. What is it called? When you think you're sick, hypochondria, running right now to the fucking internet.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
All one of you.
WebMD is horrible because you look up any symptom and you're dying.
Yeah, just don't do that.
Don't do that, dude. But
Yeah.
those are the side effects.
Drink some water
Those
and
are
take a
actual
knee.
proven side effects.
Man the fuck up.
There's even been, I think, a French in Scientific America. There
Leave
was a
it to
study
the
done by a
French.
French group showing cell division from the chemicals that are in Roundup. It's crazy. And Monsanto says because the DNA chain was controlled and produced inside of a laboratory, it's not the same as a human DNA, like practical studies on human beings.
Well, they're always going to find their little...
So they said your experiments are not like real life.
Right.
Yeah, your experiments are
Damn your science, and you're trying to reproduce shit.
How dare you?
Yeah, they do all their tests on different animals and stuff. Oh, so, okay, wait. Before I just remembered something very important.
Triggered.
Right? So they are the ones. Monsanto is the ones that come up with their test, their medical test, their research, their experiments. They submit it to the FDA. They submit it to the government. And the government only goes by on the findings that the company has provided them. They do not do independent research.
Where else do they do that?
Nowhere.
Exactly.
That I know of.
And any other drug that they...
Is that
you can think
insane?
of?
No.
Like a drug or...
Right.
I'm pretty sure there's one out there, but we don't know of it.
I don't know anything.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
It's crazy. No independent...
Look it up and let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just like,
somewhere down here. Yeah.
So let's hope this guy wins his lawsuit. I mean, he has cancer and
we're rooting for you, The Rock.
So 40. He was 42 when the lawsuit started. He's now 46.
They're hoping he dies before it finishes.
I'm sure they're going to.
I just thought that before you said it. That was awesome.
They're going to string it out and be. Yeah. This guy probably won't see the end of the lawsuit.
Yeah,
that's pretty sad.
It's unfortunate, but that is what big companies like this do in court. They just try and put it off as long as they can. And God forbid the person that's filing against them dies. Well, there goes that.
Yeah, and it's just interesting because a lot of people, like we were saying a minute ago, I brought up the fact that a lot of conservatives don't buy into this. They think it's a private company and all that, but it's not. It's big government involved in this. So that's not freedom.
It's not.
No, it's not.
It's not freedom.
When you're not given a choice or an option to opt out, it's not freedom.
Just go to any 7-Eleven, go to any grocery store and buy your regular groceries and look into every single product that you bought, and I guarantee you like 90% of it. Unless you're really planning it out and you already knew about this, that's different. But if you didn't, you're buying all that crap.
Basically anything that comes in a box on your shelves in the store.
Or soda.
Or can.
But I love Cheez-Its.
I do too. Just find.
I love Doritos.
You can try and find the GMO-free Cheez-Its. I know they make them.
You can get them at Trader Joe's.
Cheese-flavored snack.
Yeah, even those companies like
Cheese Cracker.
It's such a scam. Those guys, man. Trader Joe's and the other
Whole Foods.
Yeah, Whole Paycheck or whatever they call it. It's so fucking expensive.
I knew once they got bought by Amazon.
Liberal humor
right. I knew once they got bought by Amazon that it was all bad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Whole Paycheck is owned by Amazon.
Sweet.
Yep. They sure are.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Good on this one?
You guys good on Monsanto for now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't
So
talk a lot.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, if you don't see us, if this is our first and our last podcast,
Right, you'll know why.
You know why.
So I just want to say I didn't talk a whole lot there because you guys know a lot more about this than I do, but I was really kind of taking all that in. That was a lot to
process.
Process, yeah. So I do appreciate that though. So all right, on to the next topic. We've got a segment that we call Being a Good Human 101. And this particular segment is going to be on humility. Yeah,
and the reason why we wanted to do this subject is because we feel like to have true freedom in America or anywhere in the world, you have to have some kind of moral background. You have to have some kind of, I don't know, you have to have some kind of standard in your life to operate, because otherwise you're just a scumbag like Monsanto.
Yeah, you have to have principles in your life.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter where they come from. Whatever philosophical background.
Could be religion. Yeah, it could
be religion. It could be politics. It could be humanistic.
Just philosophy in general.
Yeah.
Spiritual.
Sure.
But the point that we're trying to make is having these guidelines to govern your life and yourself.
Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Those kind of things is what we're talking about.
Pretty easy print. Don't harm.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the non-aggression principle?
I think that's a little bit long of a topic. That'll get in there. It's basically don't harm anyone. Don't do any harm. You can defend yourself, but other than that, you don't inflict any kind of harm to someone. Basically, is what that is in a nutshell. But we'll do a good one on that because that's going to be a little bit longer.
Okay. So
let's define humility.
Yeah, absolutely.
That way we have a clear understanding, and you guys have a clear understanding.
Be humble.
So we're going to bring it up right on Merriam-Webster here. So I'm gonna read it because I won't be able to read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definition of humility: freedom from pride or arrogance, the quality or state of being humble. Accept the honor with humility. The ordeal taught her humility. The last two examples, of course. So I'll put that up on the screen here.
There you go.
Just tab over to that scene there so you can kind of see.
Now I know that Kenny and his job, they went through this for, he was saying, was it a week?
Yeah, it's a week. Yeah. So we covered this for a week, and some of the topics that were brought up were, I'm going to read off a couple that I remember, was how does humility affect you at work, and how does humility affect your customer, and then what role does humility play in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, so the first two are definitely like a workplace kind of environment, kind of concept, which is at his work. So obviously it makes sense why they brought that up.
Dealing with people, which is like what this whole principle is about, like the non-aggression principle, is how you deal with other people. And those are two great areas, like dealing with, like entering into a contract with somebody.
Right.
I mean, you have to be willing to trust them and be humble.
Oh yeah. So what were any of the takeaways on those the first topic there, the first question?
So for the first one is how does humility affect your work? If you're not a humble person and you're prideful and you're walking around, you can't interact with your coworkers. It doesn't provide a good work environment just because you basically are walking around thinking that you're better than everyone else. So you think you're doing a great job just don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that affects everybody in the workplace.
Think about when you go into any kind of business and you have a real, it's maybe not necessarily 100% humility, but you have someone that's really kind.
Right.
And they actually ask you how your day was, and it actually seems like they care.
Correct.
It's like a lot different than just like, okay, that'll be $9.95.
Right.
So I worked in retail for a long time. I was a manager of a store, assistant manager, and there was a manager above me, and he was a really, really cool guy, really humble guy. And this is why I remember him, because he was such a good guy and humble guy. He was kind of leader who led from the front. He was the kind of guy who would get in the trenches and do the work that needed to be done.
Somebody you would want to follow because he put such a good example.
Right. Well, he's actually working. He's not like
imagine that,
not shouting orders. You know, so he's like opening boxes, putting product away, doing all the stuff that nobody wanted to do because he understood that the business needed that and nobody else was going to do it. But at the same time, he wanted to show that he
wasn't above it.
He wasn't above it.
Yeah, the work. Yeah.
To me, that's being
great.
A humble boss.
Hell yeah.
When you lead from the front and show people how to have pride in what you're doing.
Promote synergy.
Exactly.
So what was the next one?
The next one was, how does humility affect your customer?
Well, I
so
think we
pretty much,
yeah,
we kind of touched on that. You know, if you're not humble in the job that you have and you think that you're better than the job that you have, or it's beneath you, like, you know, Chris was saying, he did retail. I've done retail. I think we've all
I have too,
done retail.
Jamie does too. Everyone
correct.
has.
You know, if you think that,
he said that very bitterly,
right? If you think you're too good for the job, you're not going to provide, you know, good customer service because you really don't want to be there. You know, we touched on that in one of the sound checks about how, you know, the youth thinks that, here's a prime example, that everyone says that, you know, food service industry workers, maybe fast food or whatever, the minimum wage should be $15 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. The fight for 15 movement. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean,
get my fucking order right. Jesus.
Yeah.
And so that goes to show that, you know, that people
don't take GMO fries now.
Don't take pride in their work or have humility or think they're better than the position they have because they're not humble to actually have a job. There are people, you know, that would kill to have the job you have, and you think you should be making more because,
especially in other countries,
right?
Yeah.
You know, you should be making more because, you know, I'm better than this, or you went to school, or you're in school.
I try to remind myself of that every day. So, like, I know it sounded like I was kind of bitter there. I'm not really bitter. It's not where I thought I would be at this point in my life.
That's understandable.
Right.
I will just as a person, because I care about my own brand. I take my brand with me to whatever company I work at.
It's a great way of looking at it.
Right.
So, I will never make the customer pay for my ill attitude because I think that I'm better than
it's not fair to them.
It's not fair to them.
Yeah.
So I try to provide the best experience I can wherever I go because that's what I'm being paid to do.
That's because you're humble.
I'm there to work. I'm there to do a job. I'm going to do my job regardless of, like I said, it's not that I'm bitter. It's just that it's not where I thought I would be. You know, at this point in my life, I thought I'd be doing something else, but you know, we all got to take a step back to take a step forward sometimes. So it is what it is. It's all a means to an end.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was
just going to say, what was the last one?
And then the last one is, what role does humility play in your day-to-day life?
Well, Jamie answered that right there, pretty much.
So, yeah.
At least in his work life.
At least in my work life, yeah.
Yeah.
The same principle applies in your home life too. You know, if you're carrying around a poor attitude or think that your situation that you're in, you deserve better. I mean, it could be in a relationship or just dealing with a situation, you know, that at home, be with your parents or whatever. You think that, you know, your parents should have done a better job to provide you with what you feel you need. Then that's not you being humble. That's you being prideful. And you should take a step back and look at yourself and just realize that. Be grateful. I mean, that kind of covers that whole, like, you know, be thankful, grateful for being here today, basically. You know?
One of the things that I like about humility is it lowers your ego. It destroys. If you really have humility, you're almost egoless. And when you approach life that way, you see other people. You see people's humanity. You don't see their skin color. You don't see their misfortunes or what they've lost in life. You see the human being.
Right.
And when you see the human being, you want to reach out and help. And that's where charity comes in. And that's the proper use of being humble, and that's the proper use of charity. Now,
not being forced to do it.
Yeah,
by the government.
when we're forced to do it, then I mean, it takes the humility out of it, and you start looking at people like
you get resentful.
Yeah, exactly, and it destroys
bitter,
and it destroys humility. Mm-hmm. It destroys humility, and it creates pride. And that's to me, that's what's going on in our country. Nobody's humble anymore.
Right.
Nobody has any humility. Nobody's willing to say, you know what, I'll do the shitty job to help this guy out so he can get up on his feet. You know, instead. We're giving all these handouts. What is the incentive for anybody to get out of the gutter if they're being paid to live there?
Absolutely.
I mean, we have to have.
There is no incentive really.
There's none. And this is what happened to France. If you look at France's history, you see like the
elitists.
The elitists were all killed by guillotine because the democracy rose up. The democracy rose up because they were so poor. They were eating stale bread. Why were they eating stale bread and these aristocrats living like kings? You know? Mm-hmm. Of course, you're in a democratic society. what's going to happen? Mob rule, and the aristocrats are gone because they weren't humble people. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe there were a few good, but bad for some reason always seems to outshine the good, no matter what we do. So it's so important that we stay humble. It's a pride destroyer.
Definitely is.
I like it.
That's my take. Anyway.
Yeah, no,
that's good.
It's good shit.
That's good. Anyone else got anything they want to say about humility?
No, pretty much think we covered it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's good.
So I guess we're gonna kind of move on into a different segment here. We're just gonna sort of. I got a couple of things I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, go for it. Fire away, sir.
This is So I wanted to talk about that kid David Hogg. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He is
gun grubber.
Yeah, so he's one of the kids.
He looks like a Neanderthal.
He was supposedly this is one that everyone thought he was a crisis actor for a little while.
Yeah.
So he was one of the kids that was.
He has a weird brow line.
Was in Florida, right, where the one of the tragic school shootings happened.
Sorry,
that's okay.
We're not laughing at the school shooting.
No, I know.
No, we're laughing at the unibrow guy or whatever he is.
So I guess what he did is he tried to stage a die-in at a company called Publix, and Publix is it's a supermarket, and the reason why he wanted to do a die-in, first of all, it's like a flash mob where you go in there with a bunch of people and you all just lay on the floor like you're dead.
Mock that you guys all died.
Yeah, they did that for someone was telling me today they did that for Valerie actually
shout out to Valerie.
Yeah, that's
What's up, Val?
What up?
Drunk driving.
V-dub.
Kids in high school, they do die-ins to raise awareness about drunk driving.
Right.
Yeah, so
they did that in my high school my senior year. They staged like a crash or something right before prom.
Yeah, so weird how
scared straight type thing.
Drunk driving still happens, right?
Sure.
Almost as if it's not working.
How come we haven't banned cars yet?
Yeah. I know, right?
So this kid, he staged a die-in, and there were some people that were still in there just trying to shop around. So these kids are, they're kind of being assholes, but I guess that's what a protest is all about. You kind of have to disrupt what's going on so people feel powerless and try and change shit. That's the whole point,
not true.
Right? Well, okay.
But I get what you're saying.
So it's the same reason why people block traffic on the freeway.
Yeah,
it's
which is totally horse shit.
Yeah.
Don't fuck my day up because you're mad about something.
Anyway, the company Publix, what they did is they were doing something with the NRA, and that was what David Hogg wanted them to stop. He wanted them to stop funding the NRA, whether it was through charity or through some other means, and they did. They pulled the funding, but they pulled public funding for everything, pretty much. They pulled the reason why this is ironic is because they pulled public funding for a lot of things that the left typically would support. They contributed to YWCA. So like the girls' version of the YMCA, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Young Women's Christian Association, right?
Correct.
That would be it. So they're a member of the Coalition to Stop Gun Violence, and so that organization, the Coalition to Stop Gun Violence, opposes concealed carry, and they oppose stand your ground gun laws. So two things that the left would probably like to see go away. Now they're not being funded anymore. They also contributed to the YWCA, which supports same-sex marriage. Another thing that the left would probably like to keep. Right. And then there's also things like there's a United Way chapters.
It's weird how that worked out, huh?
Yeah, United Way chapters funds Planned Parenthood. Another thing the left wants to keep around.
Don't let teenagers run things. Is what basically Jamie's saying.
That's correct.
That was the general. That was what I was.
But these aren't
weaving my way around to.
These are not kid issues here.
No.
These kids are being fed this information to put out to you guys through CNN and whatever propaganda network you're watching. And they're all propaganda networks.
Oh, yeah.
They're all bipartisan. I mean, they're all partisan. They're all partisan. They either lean left or they lean right. There's no in between. There's no such thing as fair and balanced. You're getting the information that they want to give you.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with these kids. They're giving them the information. I mean,
there he is, that little fucker.
Yeah. See, I told you he has a little bit of a brow line thing going on.
See, like these poor people.
People
are stepping over all these kids to continue shopping.
Yeah. Oh, I'd just like to get some food.
Some GMOs, please.
Right.
But this is peaceful protesting. This is part of our nation. This is what we're supposed to do when we feel like we're not being heard. Of what they're doing right now. I don't agree with what they're saying, but I agree with disrupting the system to get the message across. When you block freeways and stop people from going to work, yeah, it's annoying and people get pissed off, but I mean, somebody's hearing what you're saying.
So that's when you get the police to come in there and grab all those people on the ground, private property, trespassing.
Yeah, let's not call the cops yet.
Well, just saying.
Well, they're on my property. I can beat the fuck out of them.
I don't know if that is true. Don't take legal advice from us.
Yeah. I mean,
definitely don't take legal advice from us.
Either I beat them or the cops come and beat them. Which one?
Either way. They're going to get a beat down either way.
Yeah, either way, they're going to get a beat down. But, I mean...
Well, I don't know about the cops beating them down.
Just like anything in life, there's consequences to everything. So if you're going to have a peaceful protest and you're going to stop people from going to work and block traffic, you get what you get. You know, my son likes to say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Mm-hmm.
And
nice saying.
Yeah. I don't think he made that up, but yeah.
No, yeah.
It's a good.
So that's a good one to say. Yeah,
you know,
good quote.
And it's but it's part of our heritage as Americans to protest. You know, it just depends on what you're doing it for, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not about all that interrupting people's business and all that stuff. You can stand outside on the sidewalk and do that, like they used to do the picket lines and all that. Yeah, I'm about that. Do it all day long.
Right.
Just don't stand in the freeway. There's people that like emergency services might need to get through. People might be rushing someone to the hospital. I mean, you're affecting everyone. You're not really doing. You're doing a disservice to your cause, is what you're basically doing. My opinion.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of those things where you're like, oh, remember when all those people supporting that one cause got in the way of me doing this?
Right.
Well, now I don't like.
I got an answer for this though.
Now you have resentment towards them.
Everyone gets big trucks and puts cow catchers on the front. Hashtag
cattle guard.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Little Grand Theft Auto through there.
There we go. Yeah.
I think people have done that. Like
I have seen a few of those videos where they just ram through them.
Didn't the guy
kind of cheer for him a
I
little
think
bit.
He was a terrorist or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever they're calling him.
That's a different thing.
Whatever they're calling him nowadays. He drove a what was it?
You're talking about the Home Depot truck?
Home Depot truck.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but there was no protest in that. He just ran a bunch of people over shopping.
That was a terrorist attack.
He was just on the fucking sidewalk. Dude,
right.
Yeah, hashtag ban Home Depot trucks.
Right, exactly.
Assault truck.
Assault truck.
Yep. All right. Is there anyone else want to talk about that a little bit more? Or are you guys good on that?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, we can move on to anyone.
Okay, well, I got one for you guys.
What?
Yeah.
Totally changing gears. What movie do you like but should not? Like a guilty pleasure or a chick flick or something like. Who's got one?
You said fucking chick flick. God damn.
I got you there. Well, which one is it, Jamie?
All right. No, this is
He's gonna totally justify himself right now, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not. This is fucking embarrassing.
Uh-oh.
So I've seen The Notebook.
Okay.
And I like that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Teared up a little bit at the end.
Aww.
One single tear, just one. There. So now you guys have that.
That's all right.
No, that actually was pretty good. So like, it's funny when I get all the fucking the memes that they have where they're different shots of like from The Notebook, and most of you guys are like, oh, I don't even know what fuck movie that is. I'm like, it's funny because I remember it from the fucking movie. God damn it.
Right. Do you have one, Kenny, that you can think of? He doesn't want to admit to this. I can tell already. He has one. I can tell. Do you have one?
Yeah.
Would you like to share with us?
So, Bridesmaids?
Okay.
Yeah.
You're about that one?
Huh?
You're about that one? You like that one?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
That was an okay movie.
Oh, Chris, do you?
But I like Zootopia, man.
Zootopia?
Yeah, Zootopia was dope.
It was like a total kids movie.
But see,
it was so fun though.
But I'm into like cartoons.
Yeah.
So that I mean, to me,
those aren't as embarrassing. Right. I don't think. Like if you like the Lego movie or
like the Notebook. I actually like the Lego movie.
I love that movie.
And I like
Anarchy, bro.
And I like Ninjago.
Surf's Up.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Surf's Up is badass. Are you talking about Happy Feet?
Yeah, Happy Feet.
Oh, god damn it. You like that movie?
Yeah,
I like Happy Feet,
I
too.
could only watch parts of it.
Narrated by Morgan Freeman, that one?
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman. Oh.
Sorry.
Me Too movie got Morgan Freeman. Poor guy.
Oh, fuck. He was in the news recently.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Eight women came forward.
Everybody. Hollywood just got to stop raping people.
Right?
God,
that's all these youngsters going there thinking they're going to make it, and then you got to take one to make it.
Right. For me, I don't really. I don't. I mean, I can't. It's more kid, like kind of like Chris. It's kind of more the kid movies. I like a lot of those.
Right.
But I don't really have. I can't really think of any of the chick flicks that.
Yeah.
I just don't. I brought that topic up, but I mean, I really don't.
You know which one? Wait. You know which one?
I just want to get dirt on you guys on the
trying to
airwaves.
liberate that information from
right.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, it's a blackmail segment. Now, one other part of this is what movie do you hate?
Titanic.
What everyone likes.
Titanic.
I agree with that statement
fucking
right there.
hate that movie.
Do you guys have one?
That
everyone likes.
I gotta think about this.
I'm so easily entertained that I don't think I've ever seen a bad movie.
I hate Titanic.
Yeah, fuck that.
Okay, one movie I did hate. I couldn't even. The one movie I actually stopped watching was. It was called. It was a new movie that came out probably 3 years ago now. It was about time travel. It was started with a C, I think. Fucking. Hang on a second.
Yeah. Go ahead and look that up.
I will.
Clockwork
I can't
Orange.
think of one.
I kind of pretty much hate
Chronicles.
Chronicles.
I don't even know. What
I don't know.
Yeah.
I pretty much hate all the Fast and Furious movies. I hate all the Transporter movies, and like everyone that's a dude thinks those are the shit.
Project Almanac.
That's what the movie was called?
Project Almanac.
I think
start with the C at all. Chronicles.
I think you're the only one that actually saw that movie.
Yeah. Probably why you hate it, because nobody else wants to watch that shit.
So the question was, what movie does everyone like? But I don't think anyone even knew what that.
Yeah, I guess no. I guess.
But
not.
You hated that. But you hated that movie.
So it's a time travel movie, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a fucking asshole when it comes to time travel shit. If I spot a paradox, that's
right?
So
You're like,
blindingly,
no.
I'm like, nope, fuck that.
Yeah.
I turned it off.
Right.
Turn it off.
Yeah. What was that one? The Butterfly Effect with.
That movie was weird
horrible,
too.
dude.
See, I liked that movie.
Oh, because I saw some of it and I was like, I can't do this.
I have not seen that movie all the way through. That or 21.
You know what movie was absolutely fucking horrible, horrendous? I'll never watch it again. It was Vanilla Sky.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
I saw it back in the day, and I don't really. I remember it was just like
Is that the Tom Cruise movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never saw it.
Did he do with Nicole
Tom
Kidman?
Cruise.
It was kind of weird too, like that,
No,
right?
It was so retarded.
Wasn't it Cameron Diaz?
Yes, she was one of them, and I think
Wasn't
No,
Nicole
because-
Kidman in it?
So the thing,
Look it up.
Yeah.
What?
hashtag look it up.
Look it up.
Yeah, that was a terrible.
Yeah, it was doo doo. When I saw it, I didn't like it.
It was so weird. Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen it, you don't see it.
He was frozen, and they wake him up in the future, and he's
he's
pretty
still
much,
lame.
And he's still Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I like some Tom Cruise
Penelope
movies.
Cruz and Cameron Diaz.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I was right.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't like Tom Cruise's whole religious philosophy.
Well, that's
That's a whole nother. Yeah.
we don't have a strong legal team yet, so we cannot talk about that.
Yeah.
Moving right
hell
along.
of a
Kenny, did you have a one to bring up today?
No.
Free talk? No.
I'm good.
Chris.
I think you wanted to talk about music.
Chris wanted to bring up
music.
some punk rock stuff.
So
He has notes in front of him, ladies and gentlemen.
here's my phone. Yeah, we were talking. Johnny was asking me about
If he liked punk rock.
if I like punk rock, and yes, I do. And we were talking about my first album. My first album was Blondie, Best of Blondie, the Best of Blondie, and that kind of led me into like the Ramones, and then like Black Flag, the Vandals, Iggy Pop.
And for you younger kids, look these people up.
These are like old school like punk bands,
70s, 80s.
But I also like the mod era, the modern rock era.
Mhm.
And you had bands like Duran Duran, Blondie, New Order, Soft Cell, Depeche Mode, Pet Shop Boys, Joy Division, Modern English, Talking Heads. I mean, these are all
they all came out of the new wave from the punk rock.
Right. So going from that hardcore punk rock into the new wave modern music, I just had
a huge influence on all those artists.
Huge. And it also influenced me just in my political views and my
it got you to question shit.
Everything.
Man, you listen to Dead Kennedys for a good example. Jesus, they're bringing up some crazy shit.
Right. Even No Effects. I mean, a few years ago, they were idiots taking over.
Mm-hmm.
We was talking about George Bush and the nationalism that was going on at the time. We had 9/11, everything, and we were like reverting to this weird like conservative ideology, where now it's like so far to the left, like it's not even. But I think a lot of punk rockers are leftists also.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
for sure. They just talk about a lot more things. They have a little bit more substance than the average.
Right.
But yeah, definitely majority of punk rockers are definitely left wing.
Yeah.
And they call it anarchy, but usually they want a government to come in and control it at the end there. So that's kind of not really anarchy, is it?
No, it's
Socialism, communist.
Yeah. So
Facts.
that's kind of my experience with punk rock. And my brothers were 6 and 7 years older than me, so or still are, and they grew up in the AC/DC kind of like classic rock music, and then we had other influences. Like my mom liked a lot of the oldies, classics. My dad liked a lot of the acid rock.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, so there was a lot of different influence in my house, but what I really attached to, related to was punk rock music.
Oh yeah.
What is acid rock? What name like? Just give me an example.
Like let's see.
Would that be kind of like maybe Pink Floyd?
Pink Floyd, and then Black Sabbath, Alice Cooper.
Oh, okay, so like the more metal-y stuff that was back.
Yeah.
then.
At the same era though.
So not Pink Floyd.
That are like late
The
70s,
Doors.
late 70s, mid 70s through early 80s. Like maybe cut off right around the 80.
Yeah, right around
80
the 80s.
area.
Like late 60s.
And like punk rock came out
70s.
because what was it? Punk rock basically kind of was like the FU to society.
Right.
It was kind of bringing it back to the roots of rock and roll with Elvis Presley and all that, where it's like teenage rebellion and not listening to what your parents
Teenage
are into.
angst.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool how that whole there's tons of stuff out there about that, documentaries and stuff that are just
Well,
awesome.
It's kind of what happened to our generation in the 90s. We had all this glam rock going on, the hair bands and spandex and all that stuff.
Fucking love
And at the
music
end of
from
the 80s, I remember Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, him saying something has to change, something has to come along, and somebody has to change everything. And the very next song that they played was Nirvana.
Yeah, the grunge movement started then. Which came out of punk rock.
Smells
as well.
like Teen Spirit. Yeah,
came out of punk rock.
It was a reboot of punk rock.
Yeah, just a little different, a little bit more of a rock take on it.
Well, that too, and that song "Smells Like Teen Spirit" was even huge for the '90s grunge era. That was like,
it was.
There
like
wasn't shit that was
the
harder
pivotal
than that.
moment that everything changed. I mean, they changed music. I was just reading a story.
I hate grunge, for the record.
I was reading a story that Frances Bean Cobain said that she hates Nirvana. I thought that was funny. Yeah, Kurt Cobain didn't like being in Nirvana. He didn't like his fame or whatever.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So much so he let his wife kill him.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Fucking A.
All right. Is there anything else? I mean, that's pretty cool.
Are you into punk rock at all?
So,
Jamie?
I mean, I'll listen to punk rock, but I mean, you got to think too, like the stuff that was considered punk rock, like when I started listening to punk rock.
Pennywise?
No, it was like candy punk.
Oh, like the pop punk.
AFI and like fucking Sum 41 and Blink 182. Like it was like candy, like not real punk rock.
Right.
So I mean, I consider them.
It was pop punk. They called it pop
punk.
I always
Green Day,
candy punk. Yeah.
Offspring.
MXPX.
Yeah.
But I know about guys like the Sex Pistols and the Ramones and NoFX and Dead Kennedys and
Minor Threat,
all that kind of shit. But I never really
Misfits.
Never really listened to. I'm like a metalhead. Like I like metalcore. Like I like the fucking yelly screamy shit.
Yeah, I like that stuff too a lot.
Yeah.
Like our little theme song.
You know who I really like now? I mean, probably over the last 10 years, Slipknot. Like I'm huge.
You're a big fan of
Slipknot's
them?
pretty
I
good.
love
Yeah.
Slipknot.
I dig Slipknot. I have a friend who's like super into Slipknot, and
System of a Down's pretty badass.
They are not the type of metal that I would listen to primarily. I'd rather listen to a band like As I Lay Dying or War of Ages or like Miss May.
Didn't As I Lay Dying's vocalist kill his wife?
Mudvayne.
He is currently, I believe, in jail still for conspiracy to commit murder. She didn't die, but yeah.
The noises you
that's
may or may
crazy.
not be hearing is Kenny fondling around with things in the background.
It's all good, man. I know we actually this segment kind of ran. We're at 58 minutes right now.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up right now. Any takeaways, Jamie, from today's first show?
Get
Real
a longer goddamn headphone cord because I almost knocked the fucking mouse off.
Oh
again.
shit!
So yeah,
any good takeaways?
I did. I got a couple of takeaways here. So don't be an asshole on Facebook.
Sure.
All right.
Or vent about your sadness.
Monsanto is assholes.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah.
Be humble, asshole.
Yeah.
All right. Listen to punk rock.
There you go.
Watching people fall down a hill is hilarious.
Fucking great.
Got to get that cheese.
need that cheese.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good. I can't even sum it up better than that, man. That's great. You did good on that.
Beautiful.
What do you got, Johnny?
Dude, that was beautiful.
That was it.
I
Huh?
have a tear in my eye now.
I want to do a quick little shout out to Defiance for giving us our music here.
Thank you, sirs.
We'll put their link to the theme song down in the comments below.
Word.
Thank you guys all for watching. This has been episode 1 of Crim 86 Freedom First Podcast.
Peace.
Don't trust your leaders.
Yeah, don't praise them either.